You're watching Saki Chronicles.
Happy Halloween, you guys.
It's Halloween?
Yes, Joe, it is. Didn't you notice everyone wearing masks all over the place and acting weird?
Is it still 2020? I could have sworn we beat COVID back into the Stone Age.
Wrong masks, Joe.
Dear Lord.
They don't let me out as much anymore.
For good reason.
What we're here for is yet another top 10 list that Saki, I wanted to do for the spooky season.
Weird correction, but okay. This is the scariest moments, right? The one we did together a couple days ago that we thought were the best?
Yes, but I feel like I need to stipulate that these moments are ranked on how they made you feel the very first time you experienced them. So even though they may not be unsettling now, or may even be considered funny, they were freaky back then.
Understandable. At least this time you brought us in.
I had to, for reasons.
Well, that was ominous, but let's get this going.
Yeah.
So for number 10 is a classic one. The dog bursting through the window in RE10G.
I agree, that shit made me jump.
The craziness of that scene is so iconic. You don't think that shit would happen in a brightly lit corridor. The light is supposed to mean safety, but then bursts in this abomination, most likely one of the ones that ate Joseph.
Joseph!
And then it happens twice. Crazy things look half-eaten themselves, like they came straight from Ohio.
I want to add that not only did they replicate it perfectly in the remake, but also that Capcom made a slight change in the anticipation of it with the window crack. Amazing shit.
Good one to start with.
Damn straight.
I'll move us on. Number 9 is Sherry's section in the 2 make.
Here we go.
Nah, it's valid this time.
Damn right it is. Being this scared little girl as she's trying to avoid this crazy fucking bastard was tense. It was almost like haunting ground, come to think of it.
That game is so fucking dope.
As much as I want to rip into Joe about his choice, it is pretty solid. It's definitely an upgrade from the OG where she's just running around and dodging dogs, and even then if she's hit, nothing really happens. At least in this, a single wrong move and she's caught.
Pocket save.
And I know we mentioned it before when we ranked the characters, but what he yells at her is just as disturbing.
You are gonna wish you were dead.
I don't want to fucking know what he means by that.
Agreed. The atmosphere, the lack of anything defensive. It's just too bad it's not very long.
Not unlike that fucking Birking tentacle, right, Brian? Which is actually the most horrific part since you know that Sherry gets infected right then.
Sometimes implications are more disturbing than seeing it, and in this case it's true. Let's keep going.
Right. So number 8 for me is going to sound a bit weird, but it's the sewer Gators tape.
Oh yeah, fuck that tape.
Seriously.
This tape set the fucking tone for this game, especially when Andre disappears, and for like 5 minutes you don't know where he went.
Clancy, you see where Andre went? Where is he? Unfucking believable.
It isn't until you find his body where the true terror is, because like we said, implications are more disturbing than seeing it.
I sometimes wonder how far Andre got before Jack grabbed him. Did he kill him immediately? Or did he drag his ass down only to impale him onto that pipe? Was he alive and conscious when it happened?
Sometimes I wonder about you, Joe, but I understand it. I also want to point out that the whole Sewer Gators segment resembles another piece of film that came out 27 years earlier from Tales of the Crypt called Television Terror, about a film crew going into a haunted house only to slowly die, with an arrogant host.
Just because you're sleeping with me doesn't give you a free ride in this job.
Where did you find this guy?
Give me a break, Pete.
Hey, I only work with professionals.
Their first shots are in the kitchen.
Clancy, get a shot of this. Let's make a great cutaway.
And I know it's Ethan's section later, but there's also a woman with a chainsaw. Pretty basic, I know, but my core memory fired up when I played that part in 7.
And the after effects being that when the film is done and you come back into being Ethan, you realize that you have to trace those exact steps once more. It's a great way to start the game, even more so than that Mia and her staircase jump scare.
Absolutely, her ass thinking she's Sadako from The Ring or something. Which, by the way, did y'all see that Saki narked on us and posted our unfinished waifu list, and that someone roasted his ass?
Yeah, because you bitched and moaned about her being an A tier and held us hostage until we put her in B. It was RE4OG all over again.
I ain't gonna feel bad for not liking a dead chick Donnie, so hop into a well and fuck off.
Focus, guys, we already went through that shit before. So let's move on to number 7, which is going to be, without a doubt, from the second OG. Now, we all know that the lickers in this game were scary beyond all reason with their exposed brain, their human-like hiss, and that click-clicking of their feet.
The moment that one of them scurried across the window, that shit fucking got me.
Oh, I love that shit. There's no jump scare or anything. If you blink, you'll miss it. But its introduction also freaked me out.
Disgusting!
Both good points, but the scariest moment with these bitches have to be, without a doubt, the interrogation room.
Oh, fuck that liquor in particular.
That fucking skinned piece of shit literally just waits for you to grab that goddamned item before bursting through and browning the pants of everyone worldwide.
Even though we are divided on many issues, I am glad to know that we are together on this one.
How touching.
Well, in keeping with the RPD, a lot of the times the motherfucking Mr. X just Kool-Aid manning his ass through every wall he can find, even though there's plenty of doors out there. And even though they got a good jump out of me each time, nothing will ever come close to my number 6 moment, which was when motherfucking Nemesis did it.
Goddamn, the classics really had all the good shit, didn't they?
So, game developers would put in the best jump scares to keep you on your toes.
Which was the style at the time? No!
No, Cap. I remember thinking, hell, if he can do that, then he can just go anywhere he wants.
Stars.
And then you have to fight him in that fucking small-ass corridor while he's just blasting you with rockets like you're a sovereign nation that just discovered oil.
You don't have to fight him, you know.
You do if you want that sweet, sweet loot.
Of course you would.
How could you not? This motherfucker chases you all over the place and even hentais Brad to death. I mean, I like to at least think Jill is getting revenge for her comrade.
Like he deserves it.
We're both gonna die.
Which he fucking doesn't. Come fight me, cause for thought. Now, we've mentioned Mr. X, and in the OG he is absolutely terrifying, of course. My personal favorite is when you haven't thought about him for hours, only to look onto the screen and see him pop up like Sadako.
I thought we already talked about that B-tier bitch.
You senile shit.
All that being said, I would still give the number 5 spot for the first time we see him in the remake.
Jesus Christ!
His show of strength when lifting that chopper, and his determined steps coming at you that only get faster when he sees you. His constant presence being heard somewhere in the building, and the fact that you can't just hide from him by going into another room, since he knows how to open doors.
Must have figured out how to open doors.
You can run, but you can't hide, bitch.
I see what you mean by that constant dread from earlier, like with Nemesis. X could pop out at you anytime, so you need to stay on your toes.
Not to mention that even though you could down him for loot in the OG, it wasn't advantageous to do so in the remake, so it's almost like every time he came around was an ass-clenching moment.
Can run, but you can't hide.
Motherfucker treated stalking like he was that thing from It Follows.
Isn't that the movie where the STD is a literal manifestation of a monster that's out to kill you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn, Donnie, you must have about 15 of these fuckers wandering around.
I wear my raincoat, don't you worry, old man.
Speaking of stalkers, let's circle back to 7. This game was full of terrifying moments, whether it be from the aforementioned sewer gators to Evelyn being some sort of poltergeist, or Marguerite taking the Spider-Woman role too literally. But these do not come close to my number 4 spot, which is just plain Jack Baker.
Welcome to the family, son.
I can't even come up with a single moment with him either. They're all so damn scary, so he takes an entire placement.
I agree. Every time you deal with this guy, it's never a straight fight. He always pulls something out that's balls to the wall crazy.
Chopping your leg off. Trying to kill you with his car.
No!
Double chainsaws like this was an extreme version of Clock Tower.
Exactly, that's why it can't be just one moment with him. But pretty much all of his on-screen appearances rolled into one. I would not believe for one damn second if somebody told me that they were completely bored of Jack the very first time they ever played this game.
Don't worry, I'm still here.
He was the true main antagonist, no matter how much Capcom wanted that to go to Evelyn.
Why does everyone hate me?
You're a bit of a bitch.
He made the game absolutely frightening.
Well, until he comes back around and looks like that gelatinous mess for some reason.
Yeah, to be honest, once you're done with Marguerite, all the fear and horror
Goes right out the window.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate what Capcom did in the first half, but goddamn, they must have contractual obligations with both the sewage and mining companies with how many times they keep popping in. Once you hit these parts, you know the game is pretty much finished.
Plus, I'm not sure what was going on, but they never really got the stalking predator back to the level of terror that was like Jack. Do not get me wrong, like we said, X was amazing, but in his own way, like the T-800.
I'll be back.
Now we can do this the easy way or we can do it the hard way. I see you choosing the hard way.
Whereas Jack was a psychotic human.
I see where you're coming from. Jack was peak.
Sure shit beats the hell out of dying.
X was great. Nemi was just plain garbage. And Dami Mami was.
Makes you wonder what they'll try to cook up for 9. But let's move on to number 3, which for me nearly had me shit my pants the first time I saw it. Fucking twitching, fucking breathing.
Rosie O'Donnell?
This is giving me a second chance.
Worse, the goddamn Regenerator from 4.
What the hell is even that?
Yeah, fuck those motherfucking things.
Dealing with the first one was the worst since you didn't have the proper scope. Blowing its legs off made it just as lethal, if not more so, since now all it does is slither around like a filthy degenerate, ready to hop up and sink its teeth in you.
Yeah? A degenerate?
Years of experience means I can spot them miles away.
I like how Capcom gives you a way to kill them, but then also adds in that tiny bit of difficulty literally on their backs. The Regenerators are a great enemy to show that you can't just run and gun. You need to actually be precise in order to kill it. That is if you're not a game-breaking Chad.
Did you see how they caked them up in the 4-make? Like each one has a Tinder profile trying to snag their next meal.
I do not need one man to keep me happy.
Be gone, fuck!
Yeah, there's no fucking reason to give them that dumpster truck of an ass, no lie.
All right, you gross fucks, let's get to number 2.
Well, this is actually my number 1, Bear, but you and Don just kept fighting me on it, so whatever.
For good reason, Joe.
Better reason than the fucking baby in the goddamn Beneviento house.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
That motherfucking thing was fucking nightmare fuel when it fucking
I
happened.
won't argue that it was probably the most terrifying thing to recently come out of the franchise. The way it was done was nothing short of masterful.
Well, since Capcom basically wanted to dip their feet into the PT game, now that it's dead and buried, I'd say they did a pretty decent job.
That's why this is so high up for me. A giant mass of flesh looking like that screaming painting while it hunts you down and calls you daddy. The only thing to do is hide under a bed, like it's coming at you for months of missed child support.
Been there.
I bet you have.
These types of gameplay are always well done, like Alien Isolation or Outlast. And since this is such a great moment, I remember thinking that I wish the whole game gave me that sense of fear more often. But then you play hide and seek with a puppet and find out it was basically a really bad trip. Kind of a letdown, to be honest.
True. Still, that thing haunts me. I can't think of a more ironic way to go than for a baby eating Joe.
Asshole.
All right, guys, let's go through our honorable mentions real fast and then finish this thing up. Mine would be the intro to the 3OG, especially this fucking zombie right here. Motherfucker deadass haunted me for a long time.
Well, one of my HMs would definitely have to go to the fucking Lycan pop-up that's an 8. Stop! I know everyone knows that moment, like the fucking interrogation room in 2.
Also an 8. There were the mannequins too, walking around like the fucking SCP-173. I mean, it's not quite as freaky as the baby, mainly because they just swapped the monsters, but kept the same map. But goddamn, that shit still made me white knuckle the controller for a bit.
When Marguerite reaches out and grabs that lantern, that shit was too creepy for me.
Wesker dying because we all knew that the franchise would never have another great villain like him, no matter how hard it tried.
IGN giving RE6 a higher score than Alien Isolation. Like, what the fuck is that shit?
Fuck those untrustworthy number manipulating fucktards.
Steve Burnside trying to get freaky with Claire while she slept.
Must have come straight from Diddy's house. Does he even have enough baby oil?
Whatever happened behind closed doors to get this singing prick green lit?
Okay, enough. You guys are way off the rails. It's like the Ecliptic Express over here. So let's finish this up with what Donnie and I feel is number 1. The classic head turn, done in both the original and the remake.
Fuck yeah, it is.
I still do not see how this is better than the slop of meat crying out to be hugged. Both of you need to take your nostalgia glasses off.
Come on, Joe, this whole list is based on nostalgia.
And it's because this is where it all started. Nostalgia aside, this one zombie showed the gamers that these things aren't goofy little pixels that you can just pew-pew to death. They are a force to be reckoned with. These things are here to kill and eat you. And since Kenneth Sullivan's head falls to the floor, then it's not going to be pretty.
Exactly. And for me, the remake is even worse. Granted, it's not as gory as a full-on decapitation, but instead you actually watch Kenneth suffer as his own blood falls onto his twitching face. This dude was fucking eaten alive, and we watched it. That, coupled with Kenneth's film, we even see how close we were to helping him, but failing.
They reference it in RE2's opening as well as having it on their cover art too.
And even rehashing it in Umbrella Chronicles.
Okay, I concede, although I still stand by my decision. But I would also like to add to what Donnie was saying about them not being cookie-cutter enemies. The Keeper's Diary puts more of a personal touch on each one. They were people caught up in a fucked-up situation.
Well, one that they themselves created.
True.
Exactly.
All right, guys, I think this was pretty cool, just something fun for Halloween. Oh, wait, I forgot that I was supposed to say something at the end here.
What are you talking about?
Saki wanted me to read something off.
He what?
I fucking knew it.
If you have other scary moments that we missed, leave them in the comments below.
What the fuck?
Are we still on YouTube?
I haven't seen my wife in ages.
I haven't seen his wife in ages either.
Shut up, you guys, or he's going to